Good evening and thank you for joining us. Abner is off tonight. A Littlefield man is facing federal charges after he was accused of enticing and sexually abusing a minor. 27-year-old Alton Nichols is accused of sexually assaulting a 15-year-old girl. According to court documents, the teenager told authorities he abused her on 2 separate occasions between May and July of this year. When interviewed by detectives, court documents also reveal Nichols admitted to requesting illicit photos from the girl as many as 10 times. Since the pictures were sent over social media, the app Snapchat, that makes it a federal crime. Nichols is now facing state charges of sexual assault of a child and online solicitation of a minor, as well as federal charges of enticement or attempted enticement of a minor. He is currently booked in the Lamb County Jail.